Hello, Taurus, and welcome to your October horoscope. How are you all doing after September's eclipse season? So, October is a month of integration and to see where the dust settles after the eclipses. The eclipses for you were happening in the fifth and 11th houses. So, the fifth and 11th houses are about your creations, your romance, children. These are the houses of good fortune in astrology. The 11th house is about your friendships, organizations, and community that you're a part of. So some of y'all might have had to let go of a group of friends, or some friends left your life, or some of you might have decided to um, refocus your energy on a passion project at this time. So this month, your chart ruler, Venus, moves from its fall in Virgo in the fifth into its domicile in the sixth. Now, the reason why I like Venus in the fifth house is because Venus has its joy here. So even though Venus is technically in its fall, Venus still wants to bring like benefic qualities to the fifth house, which the fifth house again is the house of children, romance, joy, pleasure, sex, your creations. And I really like the fifth house because, well, I have my son here, but it is in a trine to the first. So, yeah, I think it's ultimately supportive when your chart ruler is in the fifth house. Okay, so on October 4th, Venus and Virgo will conjunct the South Node at 18 degrees. So, for you specifically, Taurus risings, because Venus is your chart ruler, you might want to be careful on this day because your chart ruler, which is which is your physical body, is going through the South Node, and the South Node has this purging, releasing quality. So this is a day where you might feel tired, lethargic. Something might be revealed to you at this time, like if you are having suspicions of a health issue, it might come to the surface at this time. The fifth house is also about children. So because your ascendant ruler is in the house of children and it's going through the South Node, I just want to like, this might only resonate with like one or two Taurus risings, but some of you might go through some loss of a child, or some form of your relationship with your child might change at this time. Like you might feel estranged to your child. But also the fifth house is about romance and sex. And so some of you might be ending a situationship, or yeah, I also say about the health too, because Venus rules your sixth house of health. So just be mindful at this time. This could be a difficult time for you. And I only say that again because Venus is your chart ruler and it's going through, the South Node. And if you think back to what happened on September 10th, the Sun conjunct the South Node. And then on September 11th, Mercury was conjunct the South Node. So something, again, with Venus there is being released or renewed in some way. On October 6th, Mercury will ingress into Scorpio. So, Scorpio is your seventh house of one on one partnerships. So, yeah, Mercury is a planet of communication, obviously, but it is also a planet about contracts. And since it's going through your seventh house, you might be signing a contract that, because Mercury is also tied to your second house of finances, that is tied to, you making income, or like renewing a contract where you will make more income. But you want to look out for what happens from, when is that date? October 22nd, when Mercury is in its pre-shadow, because Mercury going through your seventh and then your ninth and then your eighth houses of shared income. Mercury is going to be retrograde on November 9th. But I'm like jumping a timeline to tell you that this is an important transit for you if you are signing a contract. On the same day, there is a full moon in Aries at 14 degrees, and this happens at 11:47 p.m. Eastern time. And Aries is your 12th house. This is the house of the unseen, the unknown. This is the house of self-undoing. This is the house of self-sabotaging thoughts and behaviors, the house of the bad David. Okay, these are all scary significations for a house that really, like, if you think about this time of day, this is when the sun is rising, and all of the things that were visible in the night sky become invisible when the sun rises. And so I like to think of this house as, okay, there is obviously all this stuff that we cannot see, and becoming comfortable with the unseen and the unknown is how we can also navigate the 12th house topics. So the 12th house is also a time when this is like intentional isolation so that you can recuperate your energy and so that you can like rest. And so having a full moon here, it might just be a good day to go to a spa, to take a day off social media, to rest and to recuperate your energy. And you know, your sixth house with Venus being, I mean, with your sixth house, with your Libra house being there, this is a good day to just like, um, yeah, just take a rest, because the sixth house tends to be a house about, um, you know, your rituals and your daily habits to support your health and your life. And so when the sun goes through there during Libra season, you might feel like you have a lot of things on your to-do list. And so having this full moon, which is always a completion, it's an ending of some sort, it's just a good day to like take it easy, I would say. The ruler of this full moon is Mars in its domicile of Scorpio, which again is in your seventh house of one-on-one partnerships. So this could be some, you know, Mars has this severing quality, right? But also, like I was mentioning, you might just be signing contracts with new people. You might be really like looking to work with one-on-one clients, or you're just like really ambitious at this time. You know, Pluto is in Aquarius at the top of your chart. You're just like really getting after something. And, you know, Mars and Scorpio being the ruler of this full moon can also mean like, you just don't want to work with these people anymore. There's people that are out of alignment with your values. And you're just like, I'm going to sever this contract. I'm going to sever this relationship. And I'm going to be recommitted into, I'm going to be recommitted in what it is that I'm doing. On October 13th, Venus will ingress into Libra in its domicile in your sixth house. So again, the sixth house is about your daily rituals and habits. And because it is not witnessing the sixth, this is why we have to be careful of our health. Venus is your chart ruler. So topics of health, topics of your daily habits and routines that affect your physical body will be at the forefront of your mind at this time. But yeah, again, I think there is a similar theme here of who you decide to be in relationship with, because Libra is the sign of relationships. This could have something to do with your coworkers, as the sixth house is coworkers, your work environment, and the medicine of the sixth house is to work smarter, not harder. So having Venus here can also, because it is your chart ruler, like I said, it can make you feel like you have to be busy or productive for no reason. The medicine here is to do everything with a higher purpose. You're doing this because you want to be of higher service to the collective or whatever it is that you're doing. On October 21st, there is a new moon in Libra at 28 degrees, and this happens at 8:25 a.m. Eastern time. And so this is a new moon in your sixth house, and the ruler of this new moon is Venus in Libra, and so it's co-present with the new moon. So I really like this because this could be just a setting of an intention, a new beginning around your daily habits and routines. This is also a good day for Taurus risings to ask for help, like to delegate tasks so that you don't feel like you're overdoing something, that you don't feel like you have to do everything. Again, the medicine of the sixth house is to work harder, to work smarter and not harder. So the third, sixth, ninth, and 12th houses are the cadent houses in astrology. These houses tend, if you have personal planets here, tend to be busy houses. And these are the houses about proximity and also of knowledge of what we know. So the third house, since it's the closest one to us, to the first house, and you have Jupiter and Cancer transiting through there. These are people who we know, like personally. So our siblings, cousins, aunties, our neighbors are all people in this area. So having Jupiter here, transiting here, you might have felt like, oh, I need to form like deeper bonds with these people, emotional intimacy with these people. And then the sixth house is the next house, the next cadent house from the ascendant, but it doesn't witness the ascendant. It's an astrological aspect called the quincunx. So these are people like our coworkers, our pets, right? So they're not directly like close to our life, but they are in our proximity. And these are the daily habits that support our physical body too. So again, with Venus here, you want to be mindful of your body. And also this new moon is like a setting of a new intention that you are going to take care of your body and do things that you really feel like are aligned to your values too, right? Because Venus is our value and our worth. On October 22nd, Neptune will retrograde back into Pisces, which is your 11th house. And the same day, the sun will ingress into Scorpio, which is your seventh house. And Mercury is in its pre shadow at 20 degrees of Scorpio. Okay. So the seventh and 11th houses are your houses of like other people. The seventh house is your one on one partnerships and relationships. And the 11th house is like community and groups. And you have the North Node here, right? So a lot of Taurus placements, they're being called to find their people, right? North Node in Pisces in the 11th. And so Neptune going through here, and Saturn has been here since 2023. It's like reimagining your place within community and organization. The 11th house is also the second from the 10th. This is like your long-term goals and aspirations, your visions for your life, right? What are those? Maybe with Neptune moving through here since 2011, so 14 years, you really had to reimagine your belief systems around what's possible for your life. And then Saturn going through here since 2023. Yeah, I mean, it's ultimately in a positive position for you because the 11th is a sextile to you. This is a 60-degree angle, but Saturn brings a serious note to every house. And also Saturn is the planet of no. So you might have felt estranged or distant from some friendship groups at this time. So for example, if you're like 10 years out of college, this is the time when you might be feeling like, oh, I don't really resonate with my college friends anymore. So you're being called to find your people. On October 29th, Mercury will ingress into the sign of Sagittarius, which is your eighth house. So Mercury is the planet of communication and commerce, right? It rules your second house of income of Gemini and your fifth house of Virgo. So Mercury here is going to import those topics into the eighth. So there is something about the second house ruler being in the eighth, right? You are maybe looking to your like existing contracts. You're maybe looking to your investments, your debt, like Are these things that I really need to pay attention to at this time? Yes, because again, Mercury will go retrograde here between your seventh and eighth. You might be like looking through a fine tooth comb through your finances and your shared income with your partner and being like, we need to cancel these subscriptions. We need to cut back on Amazon, which you should be doing anyway. You should be boycotting those companies. We need to be more on a budget. This might also be tied to your children since Mercury rules your fifth house, like putting them on a budget and saying, we cannot be buying new clothes right now, you know. And I say this in this way because Mercury is in its detriment in Sagittarius. So it's not this like money's flowing, you know. It's like you feel some kind of pinch maybe, or you're like going back in your belief systems or your value connected to how you spend your money at this time. And we all should be doing this. We should all be BDSing. We should all be boycotting and divesting from these terrible corporations as much as we can. I understand that for a lot of people living in like a food desert, or they live in more rural areas where Target is literally the only place that they can buy food. So you have to do this within your own capacity. Like, I'm not telling everybody to like, I still have friends who are they still have a Prime membership, you know, and everybody has to do things in their own time and boycott when they need to. I've pretty much been BDSing since 2018. That is when I got rid of my Prime membership, when I stopped with Amazon. And I do the best I can because there's still movies on there that I want to watch, you know. So I borrow my cousin's Prime membership account. But anyway, this is like my Mercury. I have a Mercury in Pisces, which is not only in its detriment, but it's in its fall. But the shadow aspect of Mercury in Sagittarius is being preachy and being dogmatic. And so there could be this feeling here with a partner of like you being like, we have to pull back on our finances. We have to boycott Disney and Hulu because of Jimmy Kimmel or whatever the case may be. And your partner just kind of being like, why, you know, and you having to now like evangelize the BDS movement. This is just an example of how these like how a planetary ruler that rules two houses can be imported into the eighth house, for example. So, anyway, that is your month of October. I hope you have a safe and healthy one, and I will see you in November. Bye.